Death will come to all of us, especially soldiers. You give your life away so others will live and take life where only God can give it.
Never thought we'd set foot on the Halo ring.
Got something.
What the hell are they?
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back. This is the 13th episode of FTL Radio. We've been gone a few weeks, but we're back and better than ever. With me on the line, as usual, is my buddy Jacob. How's it going, Jacob?
It's going well. It's been too long.
I almost had a Freudian slip there. I said on me.
That would be Freudian, wouldn't it?
Well, you think it's Freudian.
Everyone wants me, Chris. Everyone wants me.
I plead the fifth. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Big Sexy over there. We're here to talk about
science fiction, bitches.
Yes, indeed. And it's been a couple weeks since we did that, and we sincerely apologize, but we are now back.
Yeah. So there's been a ton of stuff going on, more stuff than we could ever talk about in an hour-long episode. So what we've done is we've kind of picked a few things that jumped out to us over the past couple weeks that we wanted to talk about a little bit in more detail. The first of which is a couple weeks ago, Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth was released. I have always been a Civilization fan.
See, I've never really played the Civ games. I've never really got too into them.
Yeah, no, they're pretty cool. That and there were two games I played. Well, three games I played a lot growing up.
Okay.
On the computer. The first one was Age of Empires. Mm-hmm. The second one was the Total War series.
Okay, yeah, like the Roman stuff.
Yeah, and the third one was Civilization. So this is different than all of the other Civilization games. In that you're not starting, like you pretty much pick a civilization and you're going to space. That's it. There's no more Earth.
Really?
Well, to an extent, the Earth is on the edge of ruin, and basically there are 8 different factions that were launched separately to colonize space. Mm-hmm. So you select your faction, you choose the type of planet you wish to start with, and in essence, your empire has begun. But you're not getting anything with history, so it's not as if you're picking the Persians or the Indians or whatever. The tech system is completely revamped.
Okay.
And then there are these things called affinity paths. And there are 3 of them: purity, supremacy, and harmony. Supremacy focuses on development through cybernetics and computing. Mm-hmm. Harmony promotes genetic engineering to maximize adaptation to alien planets and effects, and Purity seeks to preserve humankind as they are, which means the player is basically going to make land do what makes things good for man rather than the other way around.
Huh. So it's really just totally embracing space. It's like, yeah, we know we did all those Earth-based conquest games before. This is now full-on outer space, colonization, the whole 9.
Yeah, it is, and I haven't played it at all.
Okay.
I unfortunately don't have a computer strong enough to play it.
Soon.
I will.
And it is available on Mac, so there is a
yes,
a plus side there.
There is hope. I've heard good things about the game though. The reviews that I've read, it's a pretty cool game.
Well, the Sid Meier's games, they always seem to have a bit of a following, and I mean, it seems to be quality every time that name is slapped to any product. So, I mean, it's gonna be, I'm sure it's gonna be a good game. I've never really gotten into those that sort of conquest-y game.
Yeah, I like them. I like those real-time strategy games. I like having to make the decisions as to what's gonna happen.
I think I always just sucked at them. That's why I never really got into them.
I was always pretty good at them. And like I said, my favorite really of all time was Rome Total War, because you really built the Roman Empire, basically.
That's pretty cool.
And you got to fight the actual battles.
Nice.
which was really cool, which just made it all fun.
Now, the only RTS game that I ever really remember enjoying a lot was, have you ever heard of the Battlezone series?
No.
I'm not going to get too much into this, but it was not your traditional RTS game.
Okay.
It was a first-person RTS game where you were effectively the pilot of this, I guess, it takes place on the ground, but it's a futuristic space. You know, you're on this moon or somewhere, and you're on this floating land speeder kind of thing, and you build units and you collect resources, but you do it all from the first-person perspective.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you're surveying the battlefield and influencing the battles, but you're also building this army and engaging in conquest.
Yeah, so that's Rome Total War was not exactly like that. The primary difference is like, so you control the battles, but you don't play an actual soldier. You just play the general who tells the soldiers where to go.
Yeah, and that's what most RTS games are.
Yeah, but I mean, it was in depth. I mean, you could have 20,000 soldiers on the field.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, like when you built a unit, what you were building was a cohort, which was so you were building hundreds of men in that one unit, and you could deploy those men accordingly. It was really cool. But interestingly, another game that's coming out that kind of piques my interest, but also scares me is it's called Elite Dangerous, and we talked about this many episodes ago. This game came out 30 years ago.
All right. Maybe not 30 years ago.
No, 30 years of Elite. Play Elite 1984. And it was, and this Elite Dangerous, it is legitimately one of the coolest. You're going to get sucked into this. Basically, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a mix of a space adventure, trading, and combat simulator game.
Okay.
Where you fly your ship around.
Oh, you know what? I think Sean mentioned this to me the other day. He said he was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, now what's cool with this game is it's a 1-to-1 scale open world galaxy.
That's stupid.
No, that's stupid. Like, I just need to emphasize that's stupid. It's a 1-to-1 scale open world galaxy. And it's based on the Milky Way.
So how does that even, like, I imagine there's technology that can compensate for the literal years that it would take to get from A to B.
Well, yes. Basically, the first way that the game, the big part of the game that's important to understand is it uses what's called procedural generation.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
All right, so that's necessary for, taking, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, taking a bunch of different, potential data points and combining them together to make a planet.
Yeah, well, effectively what it's doing is instead of an animator going in and building a planet, the animator is instead building the elements.
Okay.
And then they input all those elements into this procedural generator, and it says, oh, well, this planet will have this stuff.
Which could be very interesting because what you could wind up running into is it's a planet like Tatooine that rains like it's the rainforest.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second. Why, if it rains so much, is it a desert planet?
Well, and it's great because it allows the developers to create these massive, massive worlds with a relatively low budget. And when they play the game, they don't know what the fuck they're going to find. They know they built this element. They know they built this model or this texture, but they don't know where it's going to go.
Now, I'm curious if, and the thing about doing this is you're talking 400 billion star systems.
Yes.
So really, like, there's really very little chance that we'll see every single star system.
Absolutely.
In this game. But I wonder, like, so let's say I'm playing and I happen upon, and I didn't even mean to talk about this today, but this game just looks so cool. But so let's say I happen upon a star system, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the first time someone has found that star system, so this procedural generation builds this planet. Now, if someone else comes, do they see the same planet?
Well, if it's a massive multiplayer online game, yeah, the procedural generated universe is what it is.
Yeah, so in essence, what happens is as those early players will be key to building the universe.
Huh.
Or the galaxy, I guess.
Well, I think it's probably already built.
Well, what's built is there are 150,000 star systems that are taken from real-world astronomical data, but that's only 150,000 out of 400 billion. Mm-hmm. So all the components for procedural generation is there, but until a human or a player actually goes to that system, there's nothing there yet, is there?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is. It builds the world, and then you go to the locations that it's built. It doesn't like build it on demand.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
There's a similar game coming out on next gen consoles that was I talked about it a little bit. It's called No Man's Sky. It was
Which looks really cool too.
that looks awesome, and it's similar. They have this procedurally generated galaxy, and the idea is that you explore it.
When does it come out?
There's no date, I don't think, for release. Sometime either late next year or probably early 2016. I'd imagine
Okay. Okay.
somewhere around there.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at this. I looked it up. The game is expected to be released in 2015 and will be a timed exclusive on the PlayStation 4,
Yeah,
and then will later be brought to Microsoft Windows.
PlayStation spent the money and got the timed exclusive. I'm done with the console war.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it today. I'm thinking of getting the Xbox One.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good choice if you ask me. I mean, I like the Xbox.
Yeah, it's interesting. People say that the PlayStation 4 is the better console. I can see the argument, but I think that the Xbox One is the better device,
Yeah.
the better ecosystem.
Well, and that's really what they were going for. They were going for trying to create, the one point in the living room. It's supposed to you're supposed to have one input on your TV now.
Right.
And that input is the Xbox One, and everything should go through that.
Exactly, and I think this war between devices, this console war, I think it will come to an end next generation, if not the one after that, with Xbox winning with that mentality, because there's just content is becoming this one big universe that the ability to get from point A to point B in a console is so big. Like, I'm looking forward to being able to watch a basketball game. I like basketball. Watching a basketball game and playing a video game at the same time on my screen, and being able to switch back and forth just by saying something without having to change the input, without having to make sure that my cable box is plugged into my TV. Like, it's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, the PlayStation 4 is for gamers. It is a gaming machine, and on paper, it is a stronger piece of hardware than the Xbox One is. That's because the Xbox One has two dedicated processors, one for the operating system, which also controls your television and whatnot, and one for the gaming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really, what do you want out of a console? You can look at side by side comparisons of graphics all day long, but unless you're doing that, you're not going to notice.
Right. And I don't really care. For me, all I care about is this. I can't wait to play. I'm going to get Destiny. I'm going to play Destiny.
Yeah, man.
I'm looking forward to it. And I can't wait to maybe try this game, Elite Dangerous. It's out for beta on Windows this quarter, so before the end of the year, or if not already out. And it's going to be out for Mac in 2015. So I'm going to have to check this out.
There you go. Put your pre-order down.
Oh, yeah. So let's move on.
In the vein of video games, I guess. So a bit of pre-alpha footage from the late Star Wars Battlefront 3, the original Star Wars Battlefront 3 that was developed by LucasArts before they were shut down and EA picked up the license. So how many is it, like 2 hours or something?
Yeah.
Of pre-alpha footage? I mean, I scrubbed through it, I watched it. It's very rough.
Oh, yeah.
Frankly, you'd be better off watching some Battlefront 2 videos because they're more polished. But it's interesting to see the direction that they were going to take the game. But that being said, I mean, DICE now has the license for the game. They have a timetable. It's going to be released. I think it's late next year. Let me see. I got it up here. Yeah, in October 2015, they said holiday 2015.
So, I don't mean to cut you off, but what was going to be different about this game? Because I played Battlefront 1, I played Battlefront 2, and it was literally like playing the same game twice.
Yeah, they added Jedi, and that was the big deal. Although they had in Battlefront 2 they added the Jedi, so you could play as the Jedi, which I think you had to like level up and become a general before you could become Jedi.
Yep.
And then they also had the big bigger space battles, so it wasn't all
You know,
ground
that's
combat.
true. That's true. I remember the space battles. The space battles were fun.
Yeah, so I mean, they did a lot, and Battlefront 2 in a lot of ways was a much better game than Battlefront 1 because
Agreed.
they took the idea and expanded on it and made it better.
Yeah.
Battlefront 3 never really got the green light. I mean, they were working on it, but it lived in development hell, and then years later, it was shut down. The studio was shut down.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting because DICE is the developer for Battlefield,
Yes.
which I mean, I've played with you for hours on end.
I love Battlefield.
Which is it out for Xbox One?
Battlefield 4 is out for Xbox One, yeah.
And isn't it like 64 people on the
64 player maps, yep.
All right, that's going to have to happen when I get that system.
Yeah, I have it. It's awesome.
Anyway, so DICE made Battlefield, and I like Battlefield 100 times better than I like Call of Duty. Just my personal opinion. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with Battlefront.
Well, really, Battlefront, the first game, was a Battlefield clone. I mean, it was played from a third-person perspective, but the idea of it was just you play as a soldier, you capture bases, you could drive vehicles. That was Battlefield.
Right, so that's what I'm looking forward to for Battlefront. But here's the thing: it was a first-person shooter, right?
Battlefront used to be third-person.
What about Battlefield?
Battlefield's always been first-person.
Right. So imagine taking Battlefront, and put that into a first-person.
Well, yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is it going to stay first-person, or are they going to kind of go outside of their comfort zone, which is first-person shooters, and try to really make a proper sequel to Battlefront 2 and keep it in the same sort of gameplay style?
I would prefer to see it be first person.
Me too.
I'd also be interested in seeing them talk about, and maybe they did in Star Wars Battlefront. It's been so long. Really, I'd like to see some Clone Wars stuff.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to have some Clone Wars stuff. It's going to be a full featured game. There's going to be tons of stuff.
Yeah, no, I think so. But like, I would love it if there were really two story modes. There was the Clone Wars, and you pick a side, and there was the Rebellion, and you pick a side. And I think that's also the key point. You pick a side.
Well, that was what it was like in Battlefront 2, if I remember correctly. It did have that sort of dual trilogy mentality. Like there was one campaign that was original trilogy, and one that was the new trilogy.
No, that's very true. But excuse me, that's all true and stuff. But what I'm talking about is like, was there really a story mode in Battlefront?
In that game, the story mode was really a very loose overworld that you were able to look at, and then you would jump into battles and effectively play a multiplayer game versus computers.
Right.
So it was like Titanfall, basically.
Right. And what I'm looking for, what I'm hoping for is a real story.
You know what? I bet you there will be a story mode, and I bet you it'll be okay, but the money on this game is going to be the multiplayer.
Well, yes, if they can make a good multiplayer, pretty much a Battlefield in the Star Wars
DICE.
universe.
It's DICE.
Yeah.
They make multiplayer games, and they're some of the best at it. It's going to be really. I mean, you're looking for a story mode, and it might be there. I wouldn't bank as much on the story mode as I would on the multiplayer, because the multiplayer is where it's at on these games.
Okay. All right. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that looks kind of cool. That unfortunately that footage obviously doesn't exist, isn't going to go anywhere. But DICE should do a good job, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and holiday 2015. It's a year away, but in between now and then is E3, and I'm sure this year's E3 is going to have some full featured real gameplay of Battlefront 3, and I am. If you could see the goosebumps on my arm right now, I can't wait.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. So anyway, so we talk about every week when we end the episode of this, we talk about how if you have any independent content that you've made, video, books, art, whatever, send it to us. That's still an offer that we're willing to take. But what we found a trailer for an independent sci-fi film. That is called The
Last Scout.
The Last Scout, thank you. The trailer is only about a minute long, minute 10 seconds. And basically, the year is 2065 and war has destroyed Earth. Yada, yada, yada. Mankind has to leave. I mean, it's a very basic theme. It's a theme that happens regularly to the point that Christopher Nolan's Interstellar pretty much has the same theme.
Oh, that's out Friday, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not.
That's out Friday.
I need to see that. That looks good.
Yeah, me too. Like, I was watching TV the other day, and it's like, out Friday. What? We just talked about, like, the teaser trailer, like, a month ago.
Yeah. No, that looks really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, this trailer, it's a low budget film, but it's actually, the trailer looks relatively decent.
For a low budget thing, it's well done. If I saw something on network television with these kind of graphics, I'd be like, eh. But the fact that it's an indie flick and that people took money out of their pockets and put this together, I can look past a few maybe a little unbelievable special effects.
Yeah, no, for me, the basic premise, the nuclear war between America and China is unbelievable, but everything else, it sounds cool. I'll watch the movie.
Yeah, we'll post the link to the thing, and you can check it out for yourself. It looks good.
Yeah. So what they were doing is they were raising money on Indiegogo for their post production. They were looking to raise 6,000 Canadian dollars, and they raised almost 17,000.
Nice.
Yeah. So one of the questions, you know how on these crowdfunding sites, there's a big long page about all the information about it. So one of the big things in big bold letters is, am I going to cringe when I see the special effects? So whatever, the person goes, no. The film itself is looking amazing, and the VFX are the last big cost, or the icing on the cake, as they say, to getting a film that's got a theatrical chance of getting seen by the wide audience.
Well, and to be honest with you, they weren't that bad from the trailer.
This looks pretty decent.
It looks like something you'd see on the Sci-Fi Channel. Not the best stuff in the world, but it's on TV and it looks okay.
Yeah, so I'm real curious to see what they're gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna release it just online or if they're gonna release it in theaters or what.
Probably just online. I mean, it sounds like if the only cost that they're worrying about right now is VFX, that's still production. I mean, distribution is another animal entirely.
Oh yeah, totally. But we will see. We will definitely see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye on this one because it looks pretty interesting. A little cheesy like all these independent films are, but it looks good.
Yeah. And on the topic of indie stuff, a couple weeks ago we talked about our friend Mr. Adi Shankar.
Yes.
And he was working on a Judge Dredd miniseries, a cartoon miniseries on the web. And so this is totally separate. Like, this is not endorsed by the actual comic. This is his own brainchild. And it's really, and you watch the intro video, and I guess I should not, I should tell you the headline. It's out. Or at least the first part of it. It's not a very long piece. It'll probably take you about a half hour to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the Judge Dredd Super Fiend Bootleg Universe miniseries on his YouTube channel. It's his official Adi Shankar YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it is animated like a Ren and Stimpy cartoon.
Oh my God, is it ever?
And it is dark.
It is dark. I only watched the first episode.
Yeah.
I was at work when you showed it to me, and I forgot to finish it. But holy crap, this is dark.
Yeah.
It's got potential. You finished it, right?
I watched the whole thing. It would not take you long to sit through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's effectively a story about, and it's really a condensed version of the story of the creation of Judge Death, who is really, in terms of the grand scheme of things in the Judge Dredd universe, his Venom, his principal bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's the story of the creation of Judge Death. The first episode is entitled Judge Sidney, who Judge Death winds up becoming Judge Death. It's interesting. It's cool.
It definitely looked kind of cool to me. And yeah, I'm gonna watch the rest of it, but it's. I think, if I remember correctly, this is kind of a bit of an alternate universe in the Dredd universe.
A little bit. It does adhere a little bit, but let's just say this. The last episode, there is a resolution.
All right.
It doesn't really end in something happens that doesn't happen in the series. So
Yeah.
it is definitely an I mean, it's literally called Bootleg Universe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks cool. I'm I'm gonna catch up on it and check it out. But cool.
And you know what I didn't realize? I mean, I was checking out this series on Adi Shankar's channel, and he's the guy that directed Dread, the movie, Dread 3D.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So he has he has ties to these characters. But I remember years ago seeing this really awesome video. It was an indie flick, and it was about the Punisher. It was called Dirty Laundry.
Okay.
And it stars Thomas Jane, the guy who played the Punisher in, I think it was the 2003 or the 2002 movie.
Uh-huh.
And it is awesome. It is dark. It is gritty. It is exactly what you want out of the Punisher.
Wow.
And I went and checked out this guy's channel, and he's the guy that did it.
Huh.
So there you go, full circle. If you're
Oh
into the
yeah,
Punisher.
yeah. Dirty Laundry came out only a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Um.
But it's starring the guy who played Punisher, and it's I don't know. I loved that video. I watched it again just recently, and it's still awesome.
Oh, it's only 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, man.
I remember this. This clip was cool.
Right?
Yeah, this was a cool clip.
So that's Adi Shankar for you, and check it out. All of his stuff. He seems like he does some really awesome shit.
Yeah. You know who else has some really awesome shit?
Me?
Yes, you.
Thank you.
You do some awesome shit, dude.
I didn't fish for that compliment at all.
I'll tell you who does some awesome shit. Ridley Scott.
His name comes up a lot on this podcast.
I mean, he kind of is like the father of science. No, he's not the father of science
We
fiction.
can call him one of.
We can call him like Uncle Sci-Fi.
Uncle Cy. Uncle Cy.
Yeah, because
Aw.
he kind of is responsible for a lot of the great science fiction movies we have.
Oh, Blade Runner, Alien. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, So a couple weeks ago, once again, sorry we missed a couple episodes. A couple weeks ago, the trailer for Halo Nightfall came out.
And I'd heard of this at E3. I heard them mention some sort of Xbox One exclusive live action Halo thing with Ridley Scott attached to it. And
yeah, Ridley Scott is producing it.
yeah, he's executive producer.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's not a movie.
No, it's it's like a TV series almost.
Yeah, it's a TV series on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Which just gives me more reason to buy Xbox One.
Especially after you watch this trailer.
Yeah, this trailer's intense, and it's appropriate that we're talking about this now because this movie comes out, the show comes out on November 10th.
Oh shit, seriously?
Dude, it starts next Monday.
Oh my god, I am busy next Monday. Sorry, I can't record the podcast.
No, but I mean, depending on when it's released, let's watch it. I won't have my Xbox One yet, but watch it and we can talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it looks really good. Basically, it revolves around this guy named Jameson Locke, who he is trying to figure out. There's a biological weapon that targets just humans. Mm-hmm. He's trying to figure out, what the hell's going on. And of course, there's a Master Chief. No, not a Master Chief. There's a Spartan in it, which is interesting because he's not actually in his Spartan uniform. But then then that got me into going into Halo canon to learn more about the Spartans and
Halo canon is really cool. I've read a couple of their books and it's a really solid sci-fi universe that they've built.
Yeah, but that's the kind of cool thing about building a universe is, you can really just, go to town and really just make up your own thing.
Yeah, but that can get you into trouble sometimes. Few do it right. These guys did it pretty right. And if you're a casual video game fan, you've heard the word Halo, maybe you've played Halo, but maybe you don't know too much about the story. This is going to give you sort of a deeper inside look at the story of Halo. And sort of a fun fact, this Jameson Locke character of the Nightfall series, he is also the main character of Halo 5.
Is he?
So Halo 5 is coming out next holiday season, or when is Halo 5 out? I don't really know, but evidently, or at least according to this article, Locke is the protagonist in upcoming Halo 5 Guardians.
So let's see. I looked it up. I looked up Halo 5, and the first news story that came up is from yesterday that says Xbox One's holiday 2015 slate is so stuffed that Microsoft may need to delay something.
That's happened before.
That's promising. So let's see.
Oh, so he'll be a playable character, it looks like, just based on this wiki page. Maybe he's not the protagonist, but he'll be a playable character in Guardians.
Okay. So what we have Halo 5 Guardians and Rise of the Tomb Raider coming out in 2015. Quantum Break is scheduled for 2015. Scalebound does not yet have a release date, but that could be 2015. Then there's also Gears of War game 2015.
Oh, wow.
Fable Legends somewhere in 2015.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff for 2015.
You hit a point where you just start cannibalizing your own business.
Well, right. I mean, think about it. Halo and Gears of War are similar.
They're similar, and they're both first-party titles. They're both owned by Microsoft.
Right, so Microsoft needs to be careful. Maybe release one of those in 2016. Who knows?
They do that every now and then. If the fall lineup, because fall is really, the holiday lineup is where they release the biggest titles of the year. If that's looking too overcrowded, they'll push something to February or March just to give some space in between. And then what winds up happening is, the games sell well at holiday season, and then by the time they're done playing the games at holiday season, it's February or March, and they're ready to buy Gears of War 7 or, the next thing.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool. Something we didn't talk about when we were talking about Star Wars
What's up?
is they finished production, or they finished filming the other day.
Really? They finished shooting episode 7.
Yeah, and it's completely done. And I guess J.J. Abrams gave a letter to the cast and the crew saying how awesome it was, and how excited he was, and how amazing they were to work with, and all that blah 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 blah. But who's the actor who plays C-3PO?
Anthony Daniels.
Apparently, Anthony Daniels said this is the best Star Wars movie.
The best Star Wars movie.
Better than Empire Strikes Back.
Now, is that just a PR thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard. This dude's been in it all.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the love, the adoration of Star Wars fans. He's one of the only ones who stuck around the entire thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it could be a PR stunt, but I actually can believe it.
I'm just going to say it doesn't do anything to my opinion of the movie because it's already that elevated.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, that's one of the dangers is this could, bomb because of how elevated it's been. And bomb not from a money perspective because it's going to make a ton of money, but bomb from a
expectation perspective.
Yeah,
if you set your expectations too high for something, and it can't live up to it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I really can't wait. That's next holiday, right?
Next holiday, and a new Star Wars movie. I didn't think. I mean, I guess in the back of my mind, I always figured that they'd revisit the franchise, but the fact that it's happening and it's so close, and Anthony Daniels is saying it's the best thing that ever happened, I'm a little excited.
Yeah, me too. I just needed to hit. I want it now. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yep, it's time. They finished shooting. That's all there really is to do in a movie, right?
That's what I think. I mean, just put it out.
Just put it out. Just you know what? Just put out the raw footage. I'll edit in my mind.
I want the first trailer. I want the first trailer. So bad.
You know what? Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Oh my god, I just want that trailer.
That first trailer. I'm going to do dirty things to that first trailer.
Speaking of trailers.
Yes.
Let's talk about another Disney movie.
Look at you, Mr. Segway.
Mr. Segway. That's my new nickname, Mr. Seg. Let's talk about another Disney movie.
It's not a very good nickname.
No, it's not. Next summer, we have Avengers Age of Ultron coming out.
Hell yeah.
And really by next summer, I mean May 1st. I don't really count May as summer, but whatever.
May's in the spring.
May's in the spring. So next spring, May 1st, Avengers Age of Ultron's coming out, and holy god, fucking Jesus Christ shit. This movie looks good.
Well, what you didn't say, though, is that there is a trailer out right now, and I mean, it's a couple weeks old, and we haven't done this in a while, so I'm sure you've seen it, but if you haven't, go check it out. This trailer leaked.
Yeah.
And Marvel, I mean, they didn't mean to leak it, but if you're familiar at all with any of the Marvel movies, the Twitter page simply said, damn Hydra or something like that.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed. There's obviously some cynics out there that were like, "Yeah, that was Marvel's intention. Marvel intentionally leaked it and then tweeted about it because they're like, oh, we'll get 2 mentions rather than just 1." And I'm like,
Well, here are the possibilities. Either they did that on purpose and they purposefully leaked it and did that, which was genius because they had sort of their own PR stunt create itself.
Yep.
Or they did it, or it was accidentally leaked and then they handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
Because they knew everyone wanted to see it. It was ready. It was ready.
We were ready. We were ready.
It was probably a couple weeks out.
Yeah.
So check it out. You get your first taste of James Spader as Ultron,
which is cool.
He's got the voice for it. It's just a first trailer.
Now, let me cut you off because we're going to start talking about the Marvel universe as a whole in a second.
Yeah.
There were a couple things in that trailer that kind of jumped out at me.
Okay.
One, Iron Man and Captain America starting to get a little tense.
Yup.
Which I think is going to play into something in the future.
I think we talked about it briefly in the past, yes.
So we'll talk about it again in a second. And the other thing was, did you notice the Hulk and the Black Widow touching hands?
No, I actually didn't. I didn't catch that.
All right, so there's a scene in that trailer. I'm pretty sure, unless I saw a still from something else, so I don't see why I would. Where the Hulk, in Hulk mode, by the way, not in Bruce Banner, but in actual Hulk form, puts his hand up against the Black Widows, and I'm like, oh man, that's some dirty stuff right there.
Yeah, that is.
I'm like, okay, you're telling me the Black Widow, of all the characters she works with,
yeah,
falls in love with the Hulk?
Well, don't forget, from the first Avengers movie, she is the one that sought him out.
No, she is, and it's cool. It's just like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, but we'll see.
It's that Mark Ruffalo Musk.
Oh, that's what it is.
It just amplifies when he hulks out. You don't even realize. They're building smell-o-vision just for this movie.
So anyway, I will let you take the reign on this next part.
I mean, the next part, Marvel's gone out and sort of revised their plans for the next couple of years in their movies, starting with Age of Ultron, summer 2015, or I'm sorry, May 1st.
Yeah, whatever.
Followed by Ant-Man, which is July 17th, which
is a new thing, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we got Paul Rudd is going to be the main character of that, Scott Lang.
Okay.
And I mean, we haven't really seen anything about that just yet, but it's coming.
Uh-huh.
Phase 3, we got Captain America Civil War.
Yeah.
May 6th, 2016. So let's see here. We expected to see Tony Stark at odds with Steve Rogers. You also get to see Black Panther.
Before you start talking too much, in that Civil War movie, isn't that when Robert Downey Jr. isn't he out of contract, or did he resign?
That's a good question. I mean, I imagine that if they just announced this, that there must be some sort of a deal in the works, because they couldn't just... I mean, there are a lot of things that are forgivable, but right now, Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr., and vice versa. I don't think they could just hot swap that character and get away with it. I mean, they were able to do it with the Hulk because those movies kind of bombed, but he's sort of established in the franchise right now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's something in the works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious because he's made a lot of money off this Marvel universe, so I'd be intrigued to see if, there are some whispers that maybe he has resigned. I don't know.
Yeah. Or maybe since it's 2016, maybe they're going to finish shooting it before he's out of contract, and they have some sort of a loophole.
No, movie contracts are based on films, not based on time.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm just saying maybe in terms of like him being, I mean, he'd still get paid obviously for everything.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there are a couple ways that they could handle that.
Okay.
Tony Stark going away. The first is, he will always be Tony Stark, but that doesn't mean Tony Stark is always Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's one option. Or two, they just treat it like James Bond.
If you're going to do that, you can't just do that with one character in an established thing. They've gone all in. They've thrown down their cards. They are the Avengers. They have Chris Hemsworth. Oops, sorry, hit the mic. Chris Hemsworth as Thor. They got Steve Rogers as, I'm sorry, his name is what the fuck? Chris Evans as Steve Rogers as Captain America. You know, they've established these characters. It's going to be tough, and I mean, if it has to happen, it'll happen. But you know, it's not going to be something that will be taken lightly.
No, I mean, I agree. I definitely agree. We'll see what happens. How about we just say that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a feeling Robert Downey Jr. will resign because I think he likes being Iron Man.
Well, you know what it is? It's probably not a very difficult job for him.
No, and it's I mean, he gets paid.
He made $50 million for Avengers 1.
Yeah.
Because the way he signed his contract was like, yeah, I'm in this movie and I get a little cut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's gonna get paid for that forever.
Yeah, he is set for life. His kids are set for life.
Yeah. So anyway, so that looks cool. So anyways, take us through the rest of these movies.
Yeah. Okay. So you got May 6, 2016, which is Captain America: Civil War. So previously it was Avengers: Civil War, but now it looks like they're sort of shifting it to Captain America. Then we have a Doctor Strange movie coming out. It looks like they're leaning towards Benedict Cumberbatch to play Doctor Strange.
Which I have no idea about Doctor Strange, so I'm going to read up on that.
Well, I mean, he's a strange person, and if you've ever seen any of the BBC Sherlock and Benedict Cumberbatch in that, he is a very cold, strange person. He plays it very, very well. So that'll work.
All right, good.
May 5th, 2017... Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I'm so excited.
And I love the poster on this website because it's got like all handwritten shit on it. It's like in the same vein of the Marvel with the big epic blocky letters, and then it's got all this handwritten shit on it, which is just awesome.
It looks awesome.
And then we got Thor Ragnarok, July 28th, 2017. Black Panther gets his own movie. He's going to be starring Chadwick Boseman. I don't think have I seen this guy? I don't know who he is, Chadwick Boseman, but he is going to be slated to play Black Panther, who I'm not too familiar with the character myself, but we'll see how he fits in his own movie. Then we get back to the Avengers in 2018, Infinity War Part 1, and then
and 2.
Well, Part 2 is in 2019.
Yeah.
Then we get a Captain Marvel movie. And then we go to the Inhumans in 2018, and then it looks like it's rounded off in 2019, or at least this is I'm sorry, hang on. There's a phase 1 list, there's more. Then, I'm sorry, 2019, May 3rd, Avengers Infinity War Part 2, and then let's see.
And this is just phase 1. Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The First Avenger, The Avengers, that's all this was.
Oh, yeah. So that second page turned out to be movies that are already happening.
Now it's interesting though, because what you'll see happening here is they are starting. They're bringing all of those first big characters to completion.
Yeah.
So Iron Man will come to completion. So maybe they did convince Robert Downey Jr. to resign through 2019 to do, Avengers, Infinity War. Maybe they did. But you'll see now that they're introducing Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a new character. Doctor Strange, that's a new character. Black Panther, that's a new character.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, that's a new character, which will then all potentially not feed into, but then you have Inhumans, which is a new team. A dozen characters, actually. So, and then you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, which is just, its own thing.
Now, that's an interesting plan. Because the big ones, the Avengers, the core Avengers, Captain America, Thor, the Hulk, Iron Man, and hopefully, I think we haven't discussed this yet, but there is a rumble that there's a possibility that Sony will be dealing with Marvel to give up Spider-Man for an appearance in the Avengers movie. So that's sort of just a sidebar kind of thing. But they're sort of, have they shot their wad?
I don't know. I don't know if they've shot their wad. I don't know if I'd say that, but what I think that they've come to the conclusion of is they can make anything work.
Yeah.
Like, they can make anything work. They have figured out, after Guardians of the Galaxy was such a blaring, wonderful, amazing success, they can make anything work.
I'm not worried about them making it work. I'm just worried that you know, the Hulk body slamming Loki or slamming Loki into the ground a million times. Like all of the Avengers movie, that's what Marvel fans wanted to see. These are the big established characters. I'm sure these other movies are going to be fine, but if they don't have that core cast, I don't think they'll have the same impact.
Guardians of the Galaxy didn't have the core cast.
No, it didn't. But then again, it also wasn't as good as Avengers.
It was pretty fucking good.
It was pretty fucking good, but I wouldn't. It doesn't touch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the thing is this: Avengers isn't a great movie because of the characters. Avengers is a great movie because of the actors. It was a great, well-written script.
Yeah.
That's what made Avengers so good.
And that's what makes the Marvel movies in general very good.
Right, which is why I have no worries about a, Doctor Strange or an Ant-Man, because the script's going to be good, the story's going to be compelling, it's going to be interesting.
I just see the pattern that they're developing, and I don't know if it's going to last forever.
Well, I mean, here's what's going to happen. You ready? They'll do reboots.
Yeah.
So who do you want to play Captain America in the 2020s?
Can we just not and say we did? I don't want to talk about that. That's just getting me depressed.
Well,
let's wait until this shit gets to completion, and then we'll worry about the reboot characters.
So it's going to be interesting. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm excited. Age of Ultron looks great. Check out the teaser trailer. I mean, it's not a teaser trailer. It is a formal, like a first release trailer. It looks a lot less tongue-in-cheek and funny than the first Avengers movie did. Now, granted, it might just be because this is what they decided to show for the first trailer. But everything looks a lot more dire than it did in the first.
But I think that's typical. The first Iron Man was kind of funny.
Yes. The
second Iron Man was kind of serious.
Yes.
And then the third one was, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, the second one, they really sort of found their groove and was more serious. And the third one was probably about the same level as number 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was good. So I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I think Marvel's got a great future ahead of them. I think Disney has got a great future ahead of them. They're putting out some stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see, because I mean, really, in terms of the movies I'm most excited for, they're Disney movies.
Yeah,
they're all Disney movies,
and it's so weird to think about.
It is, but at the same time, it's kind of a perfect fit, so long as they kind of let it do its thing.
Yeah. So anyway, we were going to talk about game theory tonight, but if I'm correct, we are pushing that hour mark.
We're actually at about 47, so I guess pushing, yeah.
All right. I mean, it's up to you. You want to talk about it this week? You want to talk about it next week?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I started reading this article you sent me. just to get through the first paragraphs and understanding what game theory is. It's a very deep subject, and I get it. I understand it. But I don't understand it enough to talk about it.
All right, so we're gonna hold off on talking about game theory. Basically, there was a really cool article on IO9 that was titled "Could Game Theory Be Used to Prevent Human Extinction?"
That's right.
And it's a good article. It was a really cool article.
It is a cool article, and the answer to the question is, it sounds like it already has, to an extent.
Well, I mean, yes, and obviously we'll talk about it in more detail. But there are people whose sole job is to do this.
Yeah, well, I mean, and let's touch on it maybe a little briefly, just to sort of tease, because I want to go into it more in depth and understand it a little more. But to my understanding, the whole concept of mutually assured destruction during the Cold War was game theory. It was basically by having, normal people might think that a peaceful scenario, it would be favorable, but the game theorists decided that if we point our guns at them and they point their guns at us and they have a bit of a butter battle book kind of scenario, then they're deterred from attacking because of the retaliation, the impending retaliation.
Well, right. Mutually assured destruction was a term coined by Kissinger, I believe. And basically, there would be no way, absolutely no way, for either the Soviet Union or the United States to destroy every single one of the other side's nuclear bombs in the first strike. and because they couldn't destroy every single one, there was no guarantee that the other side wouldn't retaliate with the nuclear bomb. So really, does the U.S. want to bomb Soviet Union, and then get bombed back, or does it just not want to bomb each other?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't. Maybe it wasn't Kissinger, but anyway, that's basically the premise behind it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It sounds like the headline of the article is a little misleading because that, in and of itself, I very well could have saved humanity from extinction. A nuclear war at that point would have, at the very least, brought humanity to its knees.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's very true. It's very, very true. So, anyway, we'll talk in much more detail about that next week. There's the potential, game theory in regards to an alien invasion, game theory in regards to zombies, game theory in regards to everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and sort of the pitfalls that could also come from thinking too much along the lines of game theory.
Right. So anyway, that about wraps up episode 13. Thank you very much for listening. Lucky number 13, as some would say.
Right after Halloween, no less.
Yeah, really. We really appreciate you listening. We are on Twitter and Facebook, twitter.com/FTL Radio, facebook.com/FTL Radio. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and please leave 5 stars, as well as Stitcher, which, did you know Stitcher just got acquired?
By who?
Some French company, I think.
Really?
Yeah, so, in their email to the, the producers, they were like, yeah, this means more people will listen to you. I'm like, okay, cool. So anyway, if you are, not of original Stitcher and you hear us, welcome to FTL Radio. If you are an independent content creator, or really as a content creator in general, books, movies, TV, anything, send it to us, info@ftlradio.com. We will check it out and we will, talk about it and give it a review. We're all about helping out those independent people. So once again, thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you all very much. We are out.